This is Jamie Maggart. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. Oops. There we go. Let's get started. Okay, let's bring in our supplies. I'm going to need a paper trimmer of some sort. I do like this one for this particular purpose because the blade floats and you can measure and figure out the depth that you want it. I'm using the Catching Butterflies, which is a celebration item. I'll be using this stamp, this stamp, this stamp, and this one. Or you could use either sentiment, doesn't really matter. Okay, there's lots of little pieces. I have 1 1/4 by 1/2 inch piece of white to stamp my sentiment on. I have a 1 3/8 by 1 5/8 inch piece of navy. I'm using a night of navy for the background. You could use Misty Moonlight, you could use any of the colors in your designer series paper you choose. I have a 2 1/2 by 3 inch piece of white to stamp the little girl on. I have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of white for the inside of the card, and a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of white for the back panel of the card. I have some designer series paper. This is the Pattern Party designer series paper. I just thought it was fun, so I figured I'd use it for this. I have 2 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 5 inches. I have 1 piece that is 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 inches, and I have 4 pieces which are 1 1/2 by 1 inch. Those are all the pieces to decorate it with. Okay, let's put those up here. And I have a piece of Night of Navy. This is 5 1/4 inches by 11 inches. Okay, we're going to go ahead and score things together. I need to get the cutting blade out of the way for now. And I am going to score at 1 3/4 inches. And 3 1/2 inches. And 5 1/4 inches. And let's open this up. So I need to go to 7 inches. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. Okay, come on. So that the score lines are at the top. And I'm going to measure over to 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to take my blade, and where the 1 3/4 inch mark is that we scored, between there and this one, the 5 1/4 inch mark, so I'm going to cut between those two. So I'm going to take my blade, and you can see, sorry, my head's getting in the way there, and I'm going to cut down to this one, and then I'm going to move it over to 4 inches, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, put this away. We're done with it. Alright, now if you're not quite to your, like this one, I'm not quite to that line, I'm going to go ahead and come in and snip just to make sure it is. Okay, now when we fold it, this fold here is going to be this back this way. Make sure you're lined up well. Bring in the bone folder. Okay, the next fold is going to fold back. And I'm just creasing it here and here because this one's going to go forward. Now we're going to grab this middle piece here and we're going to pull it in like that towards this other edge. It's going to fold all the other folds automatically by itself. Okay, just go through and make sure all those are creased. Okay, so that's what we have. We can put it this way. I chose to do it this way. Okay, so these two aren't folded. Alright, now we're going to take our whole entire piece. We're going to mount it to the 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch piece. Go ahead and do that. And I'm using my wet glue. That's my glue of choice. Gives me that little bit of wiggle room I enjoy. It's just going to be centered on this panel. Okay, now let's do some stamping. Bring this back in. I'm going to need those in a minute. And on this piece, this is the 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece. And the only ink we're going to use is the memento. And we're going to bring in this cluster of butterflies. Ink it up well. Stamp that up here in this top right corner. Okay. I'm going to color with some blends. So I've got the Misty Moonlight. I'm going to use the light. I'm going to color this butterfly in. This butterfly in. This one here. I'm not doing any shading on these. Could probably use the smaller tip, it would probably be easier. And I have Light Mango Melody. I'll go ahead and color this one. This one. Okay, then I have Flirty Flamingo. Let's try the light. I don't remember which one I used. That's good. Okay, and this can get mounted. Let's cover this up for a minute so I don't get ink on everything. This can get mounted right here on this panel, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's go ahead while we're at it and put these pieces on. So we've got the two long pieces that are 1.5 by 5 inches. One will go here and one will go here. So let's go ahead and adhere those. And they're a 1/4 inch smaller than the space they're in, so right now this other big piece, the 1.5 by 2.5 inches, is going to go on this panel. And these 4 little ones, there's these 4 little rectangles, that's where they go. Now keep in mind, if you had a directional paper, that your paper's going the correct direction. This one is not directional. That's why one of the reasons I chose it. I didn't have to worry about matching stripes. I didn't have to worry about which direction the pieces were going. And this has enough pattern that it just kind of looks right, even if it's not matching. Okay, so that's that part. We'll put that aside. Now let's bring in this little tiny piece. We're going to stamp our sentiment on it. Perfect. Set it aside a minute. It's a little wonky, but that's probably because I turned my paper wonky. Now we're going to bring in this piece, the 2.5 by 3 inch. Now we're going to bring in our little girl that's catching butterflies. Let me ink it this way. I find it easier for the bigger stamps. Okay, and I am going to turn this because I want to make sure I get all of her on here, and it's really tricky. So I've got her turned so her feet are down towards the bottom and her net is up towards, it just fits in there perfectly. You could make this a little bit longer, it would make it easier. Okay, then that one little single butterfly is going to go up here. Okay. Now we're going to bring in those blends and we're going to color those in again. And this butterfly, I used the Flirty Flamingo. Okay. For her dress, I'm using the light and dark of the, I think I put the wrong one away. This is light night of navy, but I meant to get the light and dark of, maybe I did do it right. Hold on a second, I've got to test something because I couldn't remember which ones to use. These are Misty Moonlight. That's the light. Yeah, I did. I think I used the Night of Navy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and use the Night of Navy then. I was thinking I used Misty Moonlight for some reason. Okay, so we're going to take the dark and we're going to go where these stripes are. I'm just going to make a line. Nothing fancy. Then we're going to color the rest of her dress in with the light. Oops. Just went out of the lines, but we're going to correct that so don't have to worry about it too much. I'm going to outline it with a pool party so it doesn't look like she's just floating. Okay, I'm going to switch tips because it's a little bit, gives me a little bit better control. Whoops. It's also a little bit darker, but that's alright. Just do that. Same marker. Just trying to fix that so it doesn't look off. I'm just adding a little bit more up here towards the top so that it doesn't look like she's got different colored sleeves on. Okay, and then I haven't purchased the new neutrals yet, so I'm using light petal pink and ivory to do her skin. So I'm just gonna do the ivory. And then I'm taking the light petal pink. I'm just going to put a little bit of blush on her cheeks. Just a little on her nose there. Okay, now for her hair, I've got crumb cake. And I'm going to just pick a few spots. And bronze. And I'm just kind of flicking in color. There's no right or wrong way. Just so there's multiple tones. Okay. Get a little dark on this side. Okay. Alright, now we're going to take the pool party and we're going to color in the net. And we're going to do like all around the images. Just kind of flicky, loose strokes. Just so that it has a little bit of background color. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the color lifter. And around the edges, I'm just going to scribble this. Just softens that up just a little bit so you don't have those harsh edges. Okay, now this needs to be, let's bring in my ruler so I can actually show you. It needs to fit this space. So this is 2 inches. So I'm going to measure 2 inches. think I put that butterfly much higher than I did the first time, but that's alright. I'm going to measure 2.5 inches. It's 2.5 inches. I was going to say 2 inches is not enough. And I'm going to take a pencil. Where did my pencil go? No, I'm just going to take a pen and I'll just cut it off. So at 2.5 inches, I'm going to measure and I'm going to mark it. I'm going to mark it just above it because I want to cut it off. Just made a little tiny mark. I'm going to bring my snips. I'm going to go straight across to the butterfly. And I'm going to fussy cut around the butterfly. I'm going to leave a little bit of that edge, you know, that turquoise color. I'm not going to get too fussy about the antenna. I'm just going to cut around them. Now I gotta find a pencil. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay, so I want this line across there to be pretty straight. So I'm gonna use this straight edge of this, and I'm just gonna kind of draw a line across like that so I can tell where to cut. I'm gonna come down to that line. I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm going to do the same thing around the top of this net that I did with the butterfly. You could do that part on the trimmer if you want, the straight part. I'm just going to cut it off. Okay? The reason I did it that way is because this had to fit here. Originally it was meant to go hang over, you know, off the edge, but it didn't fit there, this image. So I did it this way by mistake, so I had to cut that off because it looks stupid hanging off the top. Okay, so now, move some of this out of the way. We can mount her here. We're going to mount her with dimensionals. Got some edges, so let's just use those. Use another little piece in the middle. Alright, and that's going to go right on this section here. Okay, now we're going to bring in the sentiment. And the other little blue rectangle, where did it go? Go, buddy. Oh, it's over here. 1 3/8 by 1 5/8. We're going to mount those together. There's not very much of a border, but I didn't want to use up the whole space here. I wanted to be able to see the paper behind it. So that's going to go here. So we need dimensionals on this bottom half here. Where did they go? Actually bring in a dimensional. So this part's going to get glued there, so I need one here. I need this bottom one. One more here. A little bit of glue here, and that's going to get put down here. There we go. There's the card we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. Oh, I forgot one step. Let's bring in the Wink Stella and put some Wink Stella on those butterflies. Here you go. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper. Have a great one, everybody. Now, if you want to purchase this stamp, it's actually free with a $50 purchase, and today is the last day to get it. So if you would like to purchase it, I would recommend doing it right away. Have a great one.